see it? Beautiful.
It's not the screen.
That's what you can see.
Ouch.
All right. Ready when you are, Kath. Okay. All right. Everybody ready? I'd like to call this meeting in the Southbury Planning Commission to order. Everybody could stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
United States
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. All right, let's see what we have here. Seating of alternates. Let's see, there's one. Nancy Clark, you there? All right, we'll seat Greg. You're on the end there.
Yes,
Okay, we'll seat Greg.
I'm here.
Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. Okay.
We'll just confirm that Bernie's on the phone too? Is he there? I mean,
I didn't hear him. Bernie, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's see. First order of business, public hearing. Christina Bellico, special exception and site plan application to allow takeout food restaurant under section 3.1, Schedule A, line C-8.3, in the property located at 220 Main Street South, unit number 7, in the B2A zone. Let me read the public notice here, legal notice. And it was in Voices newspaper, Southbury, Connecticut, legal notice, Southbury Planning Commission notice of public hearing. Planning Commission of the Town of Southbury, we hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 20th, 2020, at the Southbury Town Hall, 501 Main Street South, 7 PM in room 205, on the following application. Christine Umbilico, Brightside Nutrition, special exception and site plan application to allow a takeout restaurant, food restaurant in section, under section 3.1, section Schedule A, line C 8.3 of the zoning regulation for property located at 220 Main Street South, unit number 7, in a B-2A zone. The land is bounded on the north by Land NFC Burger LLC, and on the south by, not formerly known as the Southbury Commons LLC, and on the west by Patrick and Brita Kula. At the hearing, interested persons can appear and be heard, and written communication will be received. Information available is in the planning office, dated to Southbury, Connecticut, this 30th day of September 2020, Southbury Planning Commission, Nancy Clark, Secretary. Published in the paper on August the 7th, 2020, and October 14th, 2020, in Voices newspaper. All right.
just for housekeeping, I did a staff memo on this and everybody got it and reviewed it
Yep.
and understands the project pretty well.
Everybody has it? Good. Okay, is Christine here? Oh, hi. Come right up front here to the microphone and just state your name and where you're from, and the floor is yours.
Okay, hi guys, my name is Kristen Bellico. I'm so excited to be here. I would like to be bringing Brightside Nutrition to this community, offering health, wellness, positive vibes, a positive atmosphere to the community. The products and nutrition inventory will rely on Herbalife Nutrition, which I've been a distributor for the past 3 years. I'm coming off leaving a full-time preschool teaching job, which is what I went to school for. I have a bachelor's in communications. But for the past several months, I have been managing numerous nutrition clubs and learning the businesses inside out. Me and my organization, we have about 20 around the state, which are very successful. The model is very duplicatable. It's very simple for a takeout service. Everything is just made with powders, water, and ice. So it's a very simple model. I really think this space is beautiful and perfect for what I'm looking for, and I'm very excited to be sharing all this information with you.
Okay, okay, Kristen, thank you.
All
Any,
right.
any questions from anyone in the public? For or against, any questions? Anybody? Okay, okay, go to the commission, anybody? Kevin, go ahead.
Now?
Hang on one second, Nance.
Okay.
We'll come to the commission in 1 second. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much, Kevin Bielmeyer, Economic Development Director for the town of Southbury. Thank you for having me here tonight for our Planning Commission. Just want to read the letter that I prepared into the record, and there's some attached information. Dear Southbury Planning Commission, it is encouraging to see entrepreneurism on the rise in Southbury, especially from a new generation. Tonight's applicant follows a growing list of new businesses being launched in Southbury by young entrepreneurs in spite of a global health and economic crisis. Adding to that list, which includes Southbury Self-Storage, Catalyst Training Gym, Sarah's Barbershop, Logo Z Custom Apparel, Guardian's Farm, Willie's Automotive, Main Street Storage, and the Pilates Studio, is now Brightside Nutrition. Our development services team have been working with entrepreneur Kristen Bellico, who's here before you, to leverage her experience working for Brightside Nutrition, a proven brand and concept, to open one here in Southbury. According to their website, Brightside Nutrition brings the good news of diet freedom and holistic health and wellness through nutrition, coaching, and education. An enterprise like this promotes healthy living and eating, which appeals to our citizens who have chosen to live in Southbury, in part because of the parks, the wonderful walkability of Main Street, and the opportunities to live a healthy lifestyle. This business will also complement another new business positioned nearby in the same complex, the Pilates Room. Wellness is a booming industry on the rise. According to the Global Wellness Institute, and I gave you some statistics with the packet, the wellness market, which encompasses everything from boutique fitness gyms to day spas, is now valued at $4.2 trillion, having grown 12.8% in the last 2 years alone. The industry now represents 5.3% of total global economic output. And I'm not promising that for Southbury, but just so you know, it's part of a big nut. It is for these reasons that I'm enthusiastically in support of the proposed change to allow Brightside Nutrition to join the Southbury business community. This represents another step forward toward promoting investment in a new sector of our local economy. Thank you for your consideration. Kevin Bielmeyer, Economic Development Director for the town of Southbury.
Thank you, Kevin.
Do you have the sign, Kristen?
I do. I have the proposed sign.
Bring that up just so I can
Yeah.
just double check it. Okay.
Okay.
So the sign, this plaza has, a sign program, I guess it's called. The signs have to be 2 foot by 10 foot, uniform in color, blue and white with 8-inch or less letter size, and supposed to be non-illuminated. So that's what she is proposing. If you look up there, you can see how the signs currently are. So she's proposing the same type of sign. So we have those details here. I know Nancy had a question on that.
Yes. Go ahead, Nance.
Okay.
Nancy Clark?
Okay, yes. I guess they already know outside storage.
Outside storage
And
for the
no
building?
outside
For
storage.
your business, any outside storage?
Well, I do outside of the main room and where the retail space is,
But
there's.
not outside.
Not outside the building?
No, not outside,
Oh, okay.
no,
Yep.
no.
Okay.
Where do you get your deliveries? Is there a rear door?
So there is a rear exit that I can have it brought through the back. I think the plaza itself is dual-sided, so there's entrances on the back of the plaza for other businesses. And I do have, an exit towards the back, which I think is about the same size dimension as the front, so whatever I'm getting through the front, I could get through the back as well.
Okay. And the 25% outside seating, where do you propose to put that?
So at this point, Herbalife Nutrition, also gave me an approval towards this site beforehand. But towards their rules, I'm not allowed to have any complete outside seating at this point, but if I could, I would have to go forth with their approval to get benches possibly outside, but it would not be necessary on my part as a takeout food service. All of our consumptions are truly in and out the door. Many people choose to take their beverages and go, at the other locations that I'm at.
Yes, the property is a little bit limited because you have other tenants there that you don't want to obstruct, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, that was all I had.
Okay, great.
Okay. Anyone else on the commission? Ron, Larry, Harmon, nothing? Greg?
On the plan, it says, sorry, I think,
No, sorry about it.
total of 8 seats to be located within the restaurant area.
Yes, so what,
Briefly describe it, because there's no picture.
no, absolutely. So inside, I'm hoping to have a bench seating area along the opposite side of my wall where my bar is gonna be set. I'm not having any seats pulled up to the front of the bar due to COVID and keeping a social distance, friendly. So it will be on the long side and the opposite side. I'm gonna do a low bench. So there would be opportunities for people to sit and stay. And then in the front, I'm gonna have just a small two-person tabletop. It's gonna be very small. So I think it could fit about 8 people if they decided to stay. But like I said, people really do choose in this kind of a business to take their beverages and go. It's preferred to be a takeout food service, which is why I'm comfortable with less seating and not as much overcrowding inside the space. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Greg or Bob?
Is this a 7-day-a-week operation, and what are the proposed hours?
Absolutely. This is a 7-day operation business. I'm planning to do Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, and on the weekends, 10 to 2. Maybe Saturday, 9 to 2. But I noticed that the plaza, a lot of the businesses are closed on Sundays, so I'm hoping to kind of bring in a little bit more liveliness on that Sunday, seeing as how the plaza is very empty at that time in the morning.
Very good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Greg, anything?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. So we can, if everyone's comfortable, we can make a motion to approve it.
Well, close the hearing.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but just talk to the commission first. We'll close it and then we can take a vote. You guys
And then
are comfortable with
actually,
that?
you should probably wait till after unfinished business later on. You should do your public hearing
Yeah.
first.
Yep, that's fine. We'll finish those. Okay.
So
Okay. So we're all set. We're gonna close the public hearing. Thank
Okay,
you,
great.
everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Gotta do a motion to close the public hearing.
Yep. Can I get a motion to close it? Ron, I'll second it.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstains. Okay. All right, let's see here. Number 2, the public hearing here. Let's read the second legal notice. Agenda number 2, Joanne von Hardenberger's public hearing, legal notice. Published in Voices newspaper on October 7th and October 14th. Legal notice, Southbury Planning Commission, notice of a public hearing. The Southbury Planning Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 at the Southbury Town Hall, 501 Main Street South, 7 PM in room 205 for the following. Joanne von Hardenberg petition of a designation of scenic road status under Chapter 15, Article Number 3, Scenic and Rural Roads of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Southbury for the dirt portion of Jeremy Swamp from its intersection with Hulls Hill Road to Southbury/Oxford Town Line. Information available on this in the town clerk's office. At this public hearing, interested persons can appear and be heard, and written communication will be received. Dated at Southbury, Connecticut, this 30th day of September 2020. Planning Commission submission, Nancy Clark, Secretary. Let's see, is Julianne here or anyone here for this?
So I did a staff report on this one too, and everybody
Yep.
got that, they reviewed that.
Okay, my name is Joan,
Oh, sorry,
not
Joan.
Joanne.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity
Thank you.
to present this petition from the neighborhood
Thank you.
to get this road designated as scenic. The early Southbury settlers used this road as they moved from the Connecticut shoreline inland to what was then known as Indian Territory. And the earliest date that historians have found referring to Jeremy Swamp Road is 1675, over 300 years ago. This road is very important to Southbury history. Article 3 of the town ordinance lays out the criteria for scenic road designation. It states that a road must meet at least one of the 6 criteria. And I'll read from the ordinance. The road has to be unpaved, bordered by mature trees or stone walls, no more than 20 feet wide, offers scenic views, blends naturally into the surrounding terrain, and parallels or crosses brooks, streams, lakes, or ponds. This section of road meets all 6 of these criteria. Only needs 1, it meets 6. And then it adds additional criteria. It has to have local or historic significance, which it certainly does. And it fronts areas designated as parks, forests, or conservation areas, and it borders an open space area on that road. So, oh, also, there are 2 houses on the road that date from the 18th century. One of them, the Plaster House, is on the Register of Historic Places. It's time to give this road the recognition that it deserves. As a scenic road, it would receive proper maintenance to preserve it for everybody. This is a gem for the town. Anybody who has gone on that road knows how beautiful it is. It really is scenic, and we should designate it that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone in the public have any comments for or against? Just step right up to the mic and state, tell us your name and where you are from Southbury. And
Good evening, everybody. Tamara Loring. I live right on Jeremy Swamp Road at the corner of Holes Hill. And my question really is, what does it mean if it's a scenic road? Right now, it's for pedestrians only, so we can take our bikes there, we can walk with dogs. If it's scenic, does it mean that it's going to be open for vehicles like cars and things like that? So I just want a better understanding of what that means.
Yes, if it is a scenic road, it would have to be upgraded to passable standards, and it would have to be opened up to traffic.
Michael Lauren, also on the corner of Jeremy Swamp and Holes Hill. It seems that there's only 2 houses on the part that we're talking about opening. Right here and right here. I think those people should really have the most weight, but everybody was used very little, and nobody really drove their cars up and down it before. But now, it's been really nice not having to worry about cars and being able to walk and ride the bikes down it. It's really opened it up for a lot more use, and hasn't taken away from its scenic designation. I just think it's actually going to harm a lot of people that live on the road and that are enjoying it, and a lot of people that are using it for recreation, you know, it's nice to have a place to walk your dog. It's close by to us. Personally, I would like to see it remain as it is. You know, at first I thought we were losing something by not having it open. I was like, I wish they'd, you know, fix this road. But I don't want to drive my car down it. I want to walk safely down it, have my child ride his bike without getting run over down this, and it's barely passable. It's only one way. To make it really it's two-way. You could drive both ways, but if you met a car, it was very difficult to get by. And anything we do to upgrade it, it has to remain less than 20 feet. Then it's going to remain really a one-way road, but with two-way traffic on it. So that's it. It's just my thoughts.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Hi, I'm Dorothy Norris Valley. I live on 188 and Hulsel Road in the corner. I have several horses, and since 2000, I moved there with my horses on purpose because of that beautiful scenic road. And one of the things I offered my guests when they came to give them a carriage ride down that road. I agreed that I would not want to see cars flying up and down, but my guests all enjoyed the carriage rides. I've given plenty of the neighbors rides back and forth, and now for the past 3 years, I've been on 188, and I've gotten a lot of people probably a little bit annoyed because I've been there with the carriage, and that does not go 35 miles an hour.
Right.
So for me personally, and for people who like olden time scenic roads, the horse and carriage made it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name's Tony Craig. My partner Idris and I own the property at 1327 Jeremy Swamp Road. We also own 2 plots of land on the opposite side of the road, so the majority of the land along Jeremy Swamp dirt road belongs to us. We purchased the house from the Rudins back in January, and so for as long as we've owned the property and known about it, the road has been closed. It was one of the selling points of the property because it was so secluded, and it just offered that refuge that we were looking for. While I completely agree with the petitioners that the road is very scenic and beautiful, and that it should be preserved, I don't favor it being open to automobiles and other vehicles. I think the idea of a carriage, horse and buggy is amazing, and I would love to see that trotting by. But as it stands now, in the time that we've been there, we've seen a number of vehicles barrel down the road late at night, even though there are road closed signs at the end of Plaster House Road and Jeremy Swamp where they meet. And then the barricade just past our garage, they hit this hump from where there was a stone bridge that collapsed, and the city, I understand, repaired it, but not to the, there's a further stone bridge further down, which is original and very beautiful, and I would be afraid that too would collapse if it were open to, automotive traffic. But again, with the cars barreling down there at night, and then they'll have to turn around and use the driveways. Some of them I've witnessed going up the neighbor's drive, which is clearly a driveway, but they think that it's a road. And so they'll end up and back down into the yard and get out, so it's quite complicated. I think that a solution to the road, in order for the community to enjoy it as scenic and preserve it, would be to find another alternative to where the road could be closed off to vehicles, but perhaps gated in a way to where there were allowances for whether it be a carriage, horse and carriage, or if there was ever brush fire on the property, to where the fire department could still get in and attack that fire and whatnot. But to open it to through traffic, I just feel would be more detrimental to the scenic property. Much of it, again, that we own. I've heard stories of in the past where people had just dumped barrels or trash, or and I see it on the other end where Jeremy Swamp crosses Plaster House Road and then goes into Oxford, and you can see the trash and debris that's discarded there from the vehicles that go down it. So that's my thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Come back up to the microphone if you want to. Okay.
Yeah, I really did forget to mention that, but the garbage dumping, that's just been a dump until they put those barriers up. The appliances, garbage, hazardous waste, it looks like, in these 5-gallon barrels, just dumped there constantly. And it's bad enough just on the paved part with people throwing things out on the, we're constantly cleaning our road from people throwing their bottles and stuff like that on the road, and it's really hard to retrieve anything thrown out there because of the embankment that goes down the hill. Stuff sits there for years. And I'm glad he mentioned it because I forgot to cover that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to say that there are not just 2 owners on that property. There are 8 private owners on that property.
There are 2 entrances to 2 houses on that property.
You guys talk to the commission.
You have to talk to us. Yep. Thank you.
There are 8.
Kath.
The regulations ask for property owners that line the road, and there are 8, plus the town's open space area.
Okay. Sir?
I'm Paul Van Hardenberg, wife, Joan is my wife. We've lived there 45 years, and there's never been an accident on that road. Cars do pass both ways. The section that we're talking about is only half of the scenic road. The rest of the road is from Pleasant House on down to the Oxford line. It's the same situation. The lateral profile is the same with the grade, okay? In fact, the town, when they wanted to change out the Pleasant House Bridge, graded the road on our section all the way 2 miles down to Oxford line, okay? And we have a lot of traffic up and down that road, and it's really not an issue. Now, I've been at that mailbox when that road got closed, and people one after the other, on bicycles, on cars, and so forth, stopped by me and said, what the heck is going on? We like to take our family and our friends, and when they come to town, and we drive down that road to show them the beauty of this road, okay? Everybody just can't walk down that road. And that road has been a multi-use road for all those 45 years. That means people walking, people riding bikes, people on various vehicles, including the horse and buggies here that we're talking about, and it has never been a problem. Now, there was some dumping, and I was the one that goes up and down the road that would get the town to pull out the dump. But I'll tell you, in the several years before that was closed, there was not a major issue of dumping. I know the times that there was dumped, okay? And the way you do that is you don't leave anything on the side of the road. You immediately, and to the town, the Department of Public Works, they were there immediately within 24 hours, and they'd pick it up. And the rest of the road from our place down to the Oxford line, in fact, all the way 2 miles right on down, it's not an issue. Once in a while, something happens, and we get there and we clean it up, okay? And again, I'll say the profile down over the bank is identical. And the mention about the arch bridge, that's a gem. And there was a concern about traffic. Bruce here is a neighbor of mine, and he's a senior stress analysis at Sikorsky, and we came up with a plan for making a pressure plate across the bridge, okay, the arch bridge, the stone. And then I went down and spoke to Stewie Summers, which is Charlie Spath now, and said, could you design something like this and put it across? He said, we don't have to do that. All we do is we go to a catalog and we get what's called a pre-engineered structural pressure plate, and we lay it across that, and that solves that solves that issue. Okay. You all know, some of you know, that the Department of Public Works went off and spent $17,000. Okay. And then he went down to Meriden, and I sat down with George Bertram in front of the Department of Public Works people here, and said, what was your proposal? Let me see your RFP. I didn't have one. He said, this is what it was. And they tried to bring that road up to highway standards. That is not a highway that's to be brought up to highway standards, okay? What they were going to do, they were going to rip out the arch bridge. And that was not the intent of the Board of Selectmen, okay? Never was the intent. So, first of all, they first came to you, okay? John did, remember? And he said the bridge had collapsed. And we showed you the photograph. That was not true. I'm going to be polite and call it was bogus, okay? And then by going to Luke's Engineering, actually they went through Dymar, and then they outsourced that down to Luke's Engineering in Meriden, okay? They basically sabotaged it, coming in with like $750,000. Absolutely ridiculous. Not necessary. Charlie Spath says, we've got the plate across the culvert. That's it. We don't need it. And then the pressure plate that I'm talking about would be like maybe $30,000, okay? They spent $17,000, okay, which would have been half the price of fixing that, to make it so that it's very safe or passable. So anyway, there is no issue with safety. There is no issue with multiple use on that road. And for people to enjoy it, they've got to be able to drive it and bring their friends and family from out of town, and that should be advertised as a gem for this town. Now, how many arch bridges do we have remaining that people can go see, okay? Now, we lost the arch bridge at the Plaster House because it was really technically a problem. It could not be, repaired and put back into shape, but it decided not to do it. We don't want to lose another one, and we want everybody to be able to see it. I spoke to someone, I'm not going to say whose name it was, and he asked me along the road there, why do you want to open the road up again? I said, so that we can have people come to town and enjoy and see this road. I asked him, why do you want it? That's so I can sit on my back porch and not see any lights. I'm sorry. That's selfish, okay? Everybody should be able to enjoy that road. And it's not an issue whether it's walking, riding, horses, riding vehicles. For 45 years, it was fine and safe. And I like to keep it that way. Thanks very much. There's a lot of background information. You all know some of it. We've been here before, okay? So anything that comes up, we can put to rest technically, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We do have two pieces of correspondence that probably should be read into the
Sure.
record.
State your name again.
Tony Craig. I'm not quite sure how you can see the stone bridge when you're in a vehicle because you'll be driving over it. There's a number of people, and I counted 30 plus just this past weekend, of family and children and who walk down that road now and follow the trail. The area the gentleman with the petition is discussing on the other side of Plaster House where his home is. The reason I wouldn't assume there would be a problem, the traffic, is because they sit high up on the hill. Our house is 10 feet from the road, so the traffic is it affects us greater. The children that our neighbors have play on the road, and other children in the neighboring area. The kids at the Plaster House Road play out in the road, and to me, vehicles coming down that would just be, and it's not to say that I think that the type of people driving down this road that we all imagine to be are very calm, drivers very safe, and they would drive with the intent to enjoy the scenery. But there's also people who are driving down that road to get from point A to point B, or to come along and find a place to park and carry on their business in the dark. So there, having it open leaves a lot of interpretation for the people and their vehicles.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir?
Good evening, everybody.
Just state your name and
sorry.
for the record. Thank you.
I'm John Guerin. I live at 327 Hulse Hill. My property abuts Jeremy Swamp, but I can't see it from my house. But I have about 5 acres that abuts it. I should note I am the Town of Southbury Certified CLG, if anybody actually knows what that is, Certified Local Government. I coordinate the efforts of the town's historic education and preservation efforts with the state and each of the other conservation and historic groups in town. I'm very pleased that the intent is to have this road designated as scenic because I believe that's a vision for Southbury in the future. Of course, in my mind, I see no reason why, to be a scenic road, it has to have cars on it. And while I've been in my house for 30 years, so I do know that it never got a lot of traffic, and it's not seemed to keep anybody from parking near my house. There's a nice little place to park for people to walk their dogs, go on their bikes, and hike. And I have met and questioned unbelievable numbers of people about where they're from, and they drive to it and get out of their car and walk, because that's how you see a scenic road, So if you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, that's what you know. You don't drive over the canyon, you get out and look at it. But the historic groups in town would like to preserve one of the last dirt roads in town, which was one of the major routes to settling this town. We'd also, in the long run, like to integrate this as a scenic hiking pathway to the hiking trails at Southford Falls and at the south end, and in the north end to the Lovedale Farm and Land Trust area on the north. A network of trails similar to what the town of Oxford is doing with their 7-mile River Mile walk. We also feel that preserving the road as a hiking trail is less expensive for the town in terms of cost of board work and what would they need to do to preserve the 2 historic culverts instead of having to rip them out to be safe to vehicles. There might be ways to do it. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not an engineer. But as we know, Plaster House Road was renovated or reworked to remain open for the minimal cars who use it. And in the process, the town had to demolish a wonderful Keystone Bridge, which we fought to preserve but didn't work. I might add that while everybody seems to be concerned about potential inconvenience, I might add that I do real estate in town, so I do know that I talk to people all over town. Nobody knows this road except for the people right at that intersection. It is not a road that people use to get anywhere other than in the immediate vicinity, in my experience. I also might add that since the road was blocked, 4 of the 5 homes closest to Jeremy Swamp at the south end had no resistance from the market, and the houses were sold. So the road being closed didn't affect the marketability of those homes. I'd also just like to conclude. So I do support it being a scenic road. I just think it would be more romantic and more historic for the town to keep it as a closed to traffic. I love the idea that a horse and carriage could get through, but more important to me that people with horses, bikes, kids, dogs can use it. But I think it's really important, one thing I want to say is why it got closed in the first place. And I live at the intersection of Jeremy Swamp and Halls Hill, which would flood every so often, not constantly. And the town came along and they raised the road so the water would go through the culvert there as opposed to over the street. But when they raised the road 8 inches, 8 to 12 inches, the whole end of my property, which is on the National Register of Historic Places, so I've completely driven Jeff berserk. They put aluminum guardrails on both sides of the street. So now the house looks like it's at the intersection of exit 15. So that's a personal gripe, which is separate from here, but I went to Jeff's office and said, my property is now 8 to 12 inches lower than the road, you have to put the guardrails. If you go down, and I had brought this up before to Ed Edelson, so it wasn't new. I said, Jeremy Swamp has ravines that go down 20, 30, 40 feet. That's not a problem, that doesn't need guardrails. So I said, that's really dangerous. If you're saying this is dangerous, that's a danger. And my real reservation about, my fundamental reservation, is if that road gets closed to traffic, besides the unnecessary cost to the town, rather left open to traffic, they have to put guardrails everywhere to keep cars based on new, not 45 years ago, based on the new state standards about road safety. They have to put guardrails. And you all know how attractive those aluminum guardrails are.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I have two comments. First of all, the idea of making this trail so it connects to Southwood Falls or the Lovell Farm. To get to Southwood Falls, you'd have to cross 188. That's not a trail. To get to the Lovell Farm, you have to go down Hulls Hill. That's not a trail, that's a paved road. As far as the guardrails are concerned, when they were fixing the Plaster House Road, they, instead of making it so you could go down Jeremy Swamp Road, they made it so you can go down Edmonds Road. They spent a lot of money grading that road all the way down, and there's a deep ravine there too. They didn't put up any guardrails. If this is a safety problem, when the town did that, why didn't they put up, it's not a problem. The cars that go down that road don't barrel down the road. They go down the road very slowly and carefully, and it's not a problem.
Thank you.
And just one comment. The lady is right that if we extended the trails over Jeremy Swamp or over 188, there's something called a crosswalk for pedestrians. Lots of places have trails that go over streets to connect. It's not unheard of. Just use a little imagination. The other thing is, if I have to have guardrails in front of my house, I can assure you I will go to my grave fighting guardrails. That the same standard in front of my historic house has to be used on that road. I swear, if they have to be in front of my house, they better be by the ravines.
Thank you.
Then why didn't you protest when they didn't put up the guardrails?
Ma'am, you have to address us. You can't talk.
He did not protest when they didn't put the guardrails just a few months ago.
You guys can't argue amongst each other. You have to talk
Yeah,
to us.
I'm telling you right now.
Yep.
Yeah, that the guardrails did not go up when they graded Jeremy Swamp and Edmonds Road all the way down. So I don't know why they put the guardrails around his house. I have no idea.
Thank you. Okay.
The guardrails that John is talking about, and I agree with him, it looks like a mess, okay? That has nothing to do with the portion of the road that we're talking about. That has to do with Jeremy Swamp on the other side of Hulls Hill Road, okay? That's the problem. And the whole issue of the grading and so forth, which was a big issue in this town, that has nothing to do with the topography, okay, and the brook on the scenic portion, which is from Hulls Hill south. So we got to be careful of being truthful or accurate, I guess is a better word, as to what we're talking about here, okay? All right.
Thank you.
Believe me, it's a viable thing to fix that road, and I'll tell you something, people do know about that, that little gem. And as far as I'm concerned, it would be very nice if there was a sign in there and so forth, and a little walkway out there so that one could go around there and they could see this remaining arched bridge, which we don't know how old it is. We know it's hundreds of years old, okay? And I've been inside that. It is structurally fine, and it'll be protected with what's called the pressure plate. Well within maybe $50,000 or less money than it's spent, okay, with what went on here. And the amount of money spent to run that road all the way down there, I hate to think how much that was spent. That was 2 miles of repairing a road to get down through Edmonds for the people to be able to traffic back and forth. We could have easily gone, you know.
I understand, but it's a you know, clearly concern for us all, and I think the gentleman just stated the reason why he would like to see the road open is because it was a matter of inconvenience for him to go around 3 miles versus half a mile down the road.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a few things. There was never a 3.5 mile difference. You would go out past Tennessee Road out onto 188 and into town, or you would go on the closed portion now down Jeremy Swamp to the town. It's the same distance. So there's no 3.5 miles. You don't have to go into Oxford. Also, garbage stayed there for more than a year. In fact, there's still a couple of pieces of metal on the Oxford end. I know this is Edmonds Road, but it does not get picked up. And there was barrels that I talked about, the 5-gallon containers that were there for more than a year until I finally got the town to get them out of there. And there is, I guess, 8 properties that adjoin Jeremy Swamp. But on that section, there are only 2 houses that have entrances on that portion that would be opened.
Thank you.
All the rest of the houses are, it doesn't affect them.
Tamara Loring, 1051 Jeremy Swamp Road. A lot of people do know about the road because I've seen, especially in this year, they use it as a refuge to come and walk their dogs. The people who barrel down that road are the people who don't know the road. And I cannot tell you how many times I feared for my child because we're walking down there and people who don't know the area just barrel down, almost bumping into your house. So saying that it's safe and people drive down there safely, yes, the people who know the area, who appreciate it, will do that. But I fear for the pedestrians and the other people using it for recreation if we were to open it up. So just, I appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Anyone on the commission? Anything? Ron?
Yeah.
I think we should hear the one letter, especially from the roads committee.
Yep,
It might
I'm
be good.
trying to get through this, Kath. Hang on.
I'm just curious, reading the report about emergency vehicles getting up and down, whether it's 2 houses or 8 houses or 10 houses. I don't know, is there a way to get around barriers? Is there, can somebody just enlighten me?
There's no houses on that road.
There's at least 2. The gentleman said 2.
Our road's open.
Excuse me. The gentleman said 2, the lady said 8. Whether it's 1, 2, or 8, if there's an emergency, the vehicle has to
You
get
know the
down.
road well, right? Very well.
If you go from where it meets
2
Holsall
driveways
Road
that are
and you
affected.
proceed down there, there's a gate.
Multiple properties.
It is not in condition to accommodate emergency vehicles. The road needs to be upgraded in order to accommodate emergency vehicles.
Thank you.
Okay, I have, just before we, I want to read 2 things into the record first. Bob, did you want to say anything first before I read them under your?
Go ahead and read, and
Oh,
it
okay.
might prompt me to
Okay.
comments.
2 correspondence to be read on this. June 2nd, 2020, to Jeff Manuel, First Selectman, Kathy and Don Colton, Director of Finance, from John Cattell, Director of Public Works, re unimproved section of Jeremy Swamp Road. The following action was taken on May 6, 2020 special meeting of the Road Study Committee. After review of the proposed improvements to the unimproved section of Jerry Swamp Road, the Road Study Committee has voted unanimously to refrain from funding the road improvement project and take the necessary steps to turn the unimproved section of the road into a linear park. The engineering study of the unimproved section conducted by Luke's Engineering determined that 2 of the 3 culverts need to be replaced and the guardrails need to be installed for safety. The cost to meet the minimum standard would be around $750,000. With this improvements, it would remain a one-way dirt road. Considering that this section of the road was used seasonally with no winter maintenance, the Road Study Committees determined that the benefits do not outweigh the cost of this project. Their recommendation to move forward with converting the unimproved portion of the road. Their recommendation is to move forward with converting the unimproved portion of the road into a linear park. There's one other message here from Sarah Washko, 108 Jacqueline Drive. Says, hello, I am not sure I have correct contact for my concerns, but here we go. I recently heard from the town has been asked to turn a trail section of Jeremy Swamp Road extension into a road. This is so unnecessary as there are no homes on this section and $750,000 of my taxpayers' money should not go to the project. I firmly oppose this idea. The section of the road is peaceful, serene, and wonderful for walking and biking. I see many residents on this trail and it would be a true shame to spend this money for this project. Please reconsider. Sincerely, Sarah Washko, 108 Jacqueline Drive.
I have to say something. The letter that you have there read with the $750,000, I'm gonna tell you, is bogus, okay? That was an attempt to sabotage this by John Cattell. He was asked to go get various options, and he did not. That's when I sat down with George Bertram and him, and he showed us what he showed the engineering firm, which was to bring this up to regular highway standards, which is not what was required. And again, Charlie Spath, who owns Summers Engineering, sent an email to George. Now I haven't seen it because he didn't want to give it to me, and told George that that road can be fixed for way less than $100,000. Okay, that $750,000 is bogus. Okay,
Thank you.
there was not, and they were required to get a second opinion, and he didn't do it. Okay,
Yep, thank you.
and they're out of control on the highway department. Okay.
Yep, thank you. We have a letter from the department. Thank you. Yep. Anyone else on the commission have anything?
I'll talk, sure.
Hang on,
Go ahead,
Nancy.
No, let Nancy go.
Okay, go ahead, Nancy. You go first.
Okay, right now, if this were not a scenic road, or if it's a scenic road designation, the town has a liability, the town has to bring it up to standards, the town has to maintain it, the town has to provide proper drainage. If you convert it to a linear park or possibly a private road, that's another suggestion I have. I'm not sure if it's feasible, but it's something to look into. Then the abutting property owners would be responsible for liability, bringing it up to standards for emergency services, and the maintenance and the drainage. So it's something to consider. Public hearing doesn't need to be closed tonight.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. Bob, here's.
Yep, just a few comments listening to everyone. I listened to all of you very intently. Just so you know, I grew up in that area. I've been down that road countless times. As far as making it a connecting trailway, whether that's feasible or not, I don't know, but I don't think we can dismiss it just because it crosses some roads. If we look at Larkin State Bridle Trail, which is a heavily used, embankments on the section that we're talking about are extremely steep. And this will go into another point of, yes, I do believe the town did grade out Jeremy Swamp that led into Edmonds Road into Oxford, and there's some steep embankments that they did not put guardrails up during that temporary fix. And that's, let me point out that that was a temporary solution to a massive problem, trying to have access to that around that key archway bridge. And it wasn't just that they could open up the other end of Jeremy Swamp and let them go the other way, because that bridge was compromised and still is compromised. So that's why it was graded out, from what I understand anyways. Seeing the bridge from a car, I think that most people, or a good number of people, would drive over that bridge and not even realize they went over a bridge. It is a very low profile, used to be just a set of planks, but there's no big structure that you're oohing and eyeing over unless you kind of step off to the side and look at the end openings of it, which you can't do from a car. And I'm not an engineer. There could be countless ways to fix it. But from what I understand, the only thing that we have to go by at this point is what's been supplied to us by the town. A lot of people have said it can be done for this, it can be done for that. There's lots of other solutions. I haven't seen from the selectmen, from highway, from any other source, alternative plans other than what's been presented to us, which would be a substantial cost. So, those are my comments.
Thank you. Greg, anything?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody who took the time to speak. I too listened very carefully to each one of you and very much respect each of your opinions. I think the only thought I have is, I agree, the only thing that's been presented to us is, what the town has presented, and is it, I sort of ask the commission, is it reasonable for us to ask for an alternative version? I don't know, I'm suggesting it.
Okay. All set, Greg? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone on that side of the table? Anybody? Harmon?
No.
Larry, anything?
I agree with Greg.
Ron?
I'm just concerned, again, about the emergency vehicle.
Yep.
Have you guys walked it?
I have not.
Yes,
Might be a good idea.
I have.
Because when you do walk it, you can see that in order
Yeah.
to make it passable and safe, it's gonna really take away from a lot of the
Yeah, it will.
historic character.
Yep, they will.
Ron, is with your concerns of emergency vehicles getting down there for fires, from what I remember, the game plan is to put in some type of locked gate. And trust me, the fire department just comes with their bolt cutters to cut the lock off. But it was going to be a gate so that emergency vehicles could access it if need be. So the fire department would still be able to get down there.
Can we get down there today? That's my,
To be honest with you, they'd put a chain around that gate that they have now, or the cinder blocks, the Jersey barriers, that's the word I was looking for. They'd push them out of the way. Can they get down there right now? No, not easily. But the permanent solution, if it were to go to a linear park, would be a gate that they could open up, whether it be by a key or by cutting the lock.
so the only thing we have before us to improve this is the thing from the town,
Well, the park.
the $700 and some odd $1,000.
Well, just bear in mind though, too, we may find a cheaper solution to the bridge. I don't know if that's true or not, but you're still gonna have to do drainage, you're still gonna have to do guardrails. You're looking at, and because of it being so scenic, we go by our new guardrails.
Yes,
So you're looking at the Merritt Parkway,
right.
you're looking at, I don't know how many feet we're talking about, and I don't remember what
A
the
long way.
Yeah.
It
It's
drops
expensive.
off really steep on the one.
So
Merritt
this seven-
Parkway guardrails for half a mile.
It's a lot of money. We should be so lucky they built that the Merritt Parkway. Those are all wooden at least.
So the 750 was to improve the road and do all that work. That's a lot of money, so they're,
But 750 included.
Yeah, it's not just the
it's
bridge.
not just that, it's everything. So the town's saying that they would rather keep it as a park.
What is a linear park? Maybe I'm confused about that.
basically a footpath, bicycle
Right.
pathway that people can walk, they just can't drive a car on it.
Right.
So,
So when they make it a linear parkway, cars would not be allowed.
it's linear meaning,
Straight line.
well, straight line, but it's kind of narrow. So, you know, you think about a park, you go to Settlers Park, it's acres upon acres of this area, where a linear park is a concentrated,
Would
like
it
a
be-
road.
Yeah, would it be the same width as the road?
I don't believe they are planned on changing any of the widths of the road if they make it a linear park.
No. Even if they did the road over, it says only be one lane, one
Right.
way. Kath, on this, you wrote, well, section 15-94 says, the section states in part that, where is it? The owners of the majority of the lot frontage, abutting the road portion of the road must agree to the designation of the road as a scenic by filing a written statement of approval with the town clerk in accordance with section 7-149 of the Connecticut General Status. We don't even have 50%, so how did this even make the agenda?
They came up with, she's coming up with 51.2, we came up, I just got this.
43.7 is the,
Yeah,
is a
we
yes.
came up with
So it's far from the majority.
I think that we came up with a longer, frontage. We came up with 85.97 and she's saying 74.19. So we came up with there's about 1,000 feet.
So even 50% doesn't make the majority, so then this shouldn't even have made the agenda then, in theory.
Originally when they turned it in, they did have it, but there were sale of some of the properties and then we didn't have any agreement from the new owners to be in favor of this.
Where's the town's position on this? Doesn't say anything, just to be announced,
I believe that they,
to be determined?
they have not agreed to it.
Oh, okay. So then this,
Bear in mind too, that this has come before our commission previously,
yeah, it's twice now.
Yes, if you look at
And-
page,
We
yeah,
left it.
we've voted in the past to,
Leave it the way it is. Yeah.
basically turn it into a linear park.
Yeah.
When we spoke to Jeff about this, he said that he has no, the reason that we didn't include the part that belongs to the town is because Jeff said he couldn't decide on that. It wasn't up to him. That's why he said it's not up to him. So we didn't include that part that is open space. We just included the privately owned area on either side of the road. And that's how we came up to the 51 whatever percentage.
About
it is.
51%, it's
Yes.
not the majority
Yes,
though.
yes.
Yeah, it's under the majority, 51, it's only 44. Either way, it doesn't
If I
matter.
may, I didn't sign anything, which is sort of interesting to come up with that 50%, so I don't know what document that is, but just saying. But I want to point out, and I'm on the Economic Development Commission in town, and I constantly have to remind Southbury, we are one of the only towns around here. We finally got an economic development director, that's progress. But we're one of the few people that don't have a full-time grant writer. And if the town of Southbury goes in the direction of a linear park, there's all sorts of ways and environmental groups, et cetera, that you can apply to or raise funds through or community efforts, but there are ways to come up with monies. Oxford is doing it. All we have to do is sit with them for an hour and say, how'd you do it? And they raise most of that money through their grant writer.
Thank you. All right, anyone else on the commission, anything?
I have a question.
All right, go ahead, Nancy.
Have the abutting property owners elicited any opinion from the Southbury Land Trust or the Historic Society in writing?
Do we know, Kath?
I can answer that. Can I?
Kathy, do we know anything about that?
No.
If there's information you have on it, we'd like to hear it.
This is not gonna help my argument, but
Oh,
just
okay.
in the face of,
State your name again, so it's on the
John
record.
Guerin, I'm sorry. I did
Okay.
talk to, Mr. Krieger, Tom Kreider, and he raised it with the land trust, and they said they had too many other issues in front of the town to make this their first priority. They're not against it, but they didn't wanna,
Okay, thank you.
I have to be honest with you.
Yep, okay. Does that help, Nance?
Yes, but I'm of the Historic Society.
The historic societies, though, I can tell you, since I coordinate that, many of them have been down there when we were doing we were analyzing Plaster House Bridge. They are supportive of this being preserved.
Thank you.
Well,
Greg?
something in writing helps.
We can get that.
Can I speak to the question?
John Dwyer, 125 Quaker Farms Road in the Southford section of Southbury. Town historian, member of the Historic Buildings Commission, and member of the Historical Society. I have toured the site with the chairman of the Historical Society and with the chairman of Historic Buildings Commission and several others, including John Gernahan. Generally, these groups support the preservation of the site. And if I can just spend a moment to stress the importance of this place. As it was stated before, this was laid out by the General Connecticut Court in the 17th century as the old Woodbury Path. So that was the route that people took from the Derby docks through Quaker Farm to settle this town and to settle Woodbury. So it's probably the oldest section of town of road in this part of the state. The structures there probably date a little later. There was a major rehaul and revamping in 1809. There was several large mills. It was an industrial site, so it has it's an important asset to the town and to the region, historically, culturally, and aesthetically. The issue is, and I know this is a question of whether what vehicles you take and how you maintain it, but there needs to be some kind of program or some kind of means to maintain, preserve, and protect this place with some very unique structures. And if a scenic road does it, or if a linear path does it, I think everybody, if I can speak for my friends and associates on the other boards and commissions, would have some support. It's been neglected. The structures there are starting to decay and fall apart. If you let it go too much longer, it doesn't become an asset, it becomes a liability. It's like when the roof of your house starts to leak. If you don't fix the leak, your roof is going to fall in and you can't afford to fix it. We've seen many examples in the regional towns, in Woodbury and in Waterbury, where they don't routinely maintain their historic assets, and then it gets to a point where they can no longer afford to do it. And we have been brought up, this town has in the past been brought up by state officials as being a model for this kind of stewardship. The example, the Historic Buildings Commission, which I've served on for more than 30 years, has a very modest yearly budget. And because of that, you don't have a problem with the 3 historic properties they own, because they put $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 into it every year, and they watch out for it, they maintain, they have a schedule, so you don't have a $1.5 million bond coming at you in the future like they do in Waterbury Town Hall, the several buildings up in Woodbury. So I think that something needs to be done with your assistance, with the town assistance, to at least do something to routinely maintain. The major problem right now, as it was addressed, is that there is some masonry work that needs to be done on this structure. And to have only one opinion of an engineer as opposed to a preservationist or a master mason, to me is too much, is not enough. I think something can be done more, and I would like to support or encourage you or the selectmen or anybody in your field of influence to, and I suggest you go down there and look at it, and I don't care if you can see it or not from the road. It's an important structure, and all it needs to do is have a little bit of TLC before it goes down and under and is lost forever, as what happened with the Keystone Arch Bridge at the Plaster House, not attended to. So that's my plea to you folks.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else?
Can I ask just for a little clarification on the notes, the difference between the October 17th, 2012 regarding the Planning Commission and what happened on June 19th, 2019, that I'm just having trouble understanding the difference between why it came before the board twice and more or less, I'm reading that the very similar decision was made. Am I wrong?
In June of 2019, we voted to abandon the road and leave it that way. I think it was due to the structural.
Right, so in 2012, the issue was to close the road, and then in 2019, the recommendation was to abandon the road. That's the difference. But in both instances, this issue's come twice before the commission, and both times, the decision was made, to go in that route. Okay, I just wanted to clarify the difference between the two.
They still have the right to apply for scenic road status if they
Absolutely.
wanted to, so that's what.
Yep.
Yep.
So, ma'am,
Another suggestion, if I may? Hello?
what was that, Nance?
And it's not, another suggestion might be for the abutting property owners or the affected property owners there are about 15, maybe more scenic roads designated in Salisbury. And take a look at them. The closest one, I think, is Sanford Road. And see how it's maintained and how it looks. And there are two, on Sanford Road, there are two historic properties also. And also the Larkin Bridle Trail crosses over that. You may want to look at those and see, and there are no guardrails, and see what it looks like.
I just wanted to comment that both times in 2012 and in 2019, the road was closed without consulting us. Nobody notified us who live on the Jeremy Swamp Road that they were closing the road. All of a sudden, it's just closed. One time I saw a notice in the paper, and the next time I just saw the Jersey barrier put up without any notification at all, which I don't think is right.
Thank you.
I gotta say, if you wanna take one action here, it's to get the second opinion, okay? There was no second opinion, and that was because of the Department of Public Works, okay? Didn't go out and get the second opinion when he should have. Again, when we sat down with George Bertram, okay, he said, we need a second opinion. And that second opinion can be obtained from Stewie Summers Engineering, okay? If you talk to Charlie Spath, or someone directs Department of Public Works to talk to Charlie Spath, I asked Jeff to talk to him directly, okay? You'd find out what it would take to fix this road, and it is not $750,000. That there was gonna eliminate and destroy that bridge, okay? That's the action that we need to take, okay? And that's, if you get that information, then you can make an intelligent decision as to which way to go. That would be the suggestion I would have. Have the action for the second opinion, and specifically go to Charlie Spath there at Summers, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry, not to take up so much more of your time, but it was thoughtless of me, someone suggested a tour. It was thoughtless of me not to offer to guide a tour. I've given several of them for the Historical Society there, and I'd be happy to meet anybody at their convenience if you like. My time is fairly open.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else on the commission before we close the public hearing?
If you're gonna do a tour, you should not close the hearing.
All right, I make a motion to keep it open
What,
to the next, to the November meeting.
so you want to make a motion to keep it open?
Yes.
I guess Nancy wants, or anyone else want to leave the public hearing open? I don't think there's- Yeah, I think we should close it. There's no reason to keep the hearing open. I think we can close it. I think we can walk it on our own time. There's no reason to leave it open, Nance.
Well, let's leave it open for other opinions.
You don't have the
You know,
authority to
perhaps-
ask for another engineering report.
No.
That's not part of this.
Right. The application in front of us, let's take a vote. We can close, we can make a motion to close it. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
You have a motion on the floor already. Nancy made a motion.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, Nancy, you made a motion, or was this a suggestion?
I need a motion.
Okay, anyone want to second Nancy's motion? Okay,
Okay, withdraw.
no one wants to, okay, so. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Bob Harrison, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, abstain? Hearing's closed. Thank you, everybody. All right, moving on to number 3. Public hearing. Let's see, the Planning Commission of the Town of Southbury will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, October 20th, 2020 at the Southbury Town Hall, 501 Main Street South, 7 PM in room 205 on the following application. Proposed amendment to the subdivision regulations, section 4.12.9, guardrails to provide clearer standards for the construction of guardrails to apply to new subdivision applications. At this hearing, interested persons can appear and be heard, and written communication will be received. Information available in the planning office as needed. Dated at Southbury, Connecticut, this 30th day of September 20. Southbury Planning Commission, Nancy Clark, Secretary, published in Voices newspaper, October the 7th, 2020, and October 14th, 2020. Let's see what we have here.
So we've got the proposed amendment to the guardrails that everyone, had agreed on back in June. So it's just as you guys have previously discussed.
So,
No, I'm just confused. We've already agreed, Bob did a fantastic job.
right,
Right.
outlining
So
everything.
this is the official public hearing. This is the step you gotta take to actually.
so I'll go to the public. Is anyone in the audience have anything for or against the guardrails, or any comments? Nobody? Okay. Anyone on the commission?
Just a question, does this take care of, or, we put a moratorium on guardrails in new subdivisions.
Right.
When does that get lifted? How does that get lifted?
I think what it would be now, you make this effective, if you go ahead and approve this.
Yeah.
Then you can, at your next meeting, with them.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Anyone from the commission, comments, anything? I agree with Ron. Bob's report was fantastic.
I agree with that. Yeah, good job, Bob.
Yep. I mean, it was pretty thorough. Okay. So we can just close this, make a motion to close it, and then we'll go from there? Okay. I'll make a motion to close the hearing on the guardrails.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Hearing's closed, thank you. All right. Moving on, unfinished business, discussion on the public hearing. Luna Holdings LLC, 336 Old Waterbury Road, special exception and site plan application under section 12. Plan development to allow construction of the plan development unit, PDU, 14-unit multifamily dwelling as a set-aside development under the Connecticut Affordable Housing Appeal status, Connecticut General Status, section 8-30G. And where are we on that? So, discussion on our end.
So we have the draft resolution of approval.
Yep.
So,
Do I have that?
yes,
Yep.
it says E1 on that.
Yep. Yep.
E1, yeah.
Did Kathy's questions that we got by email get answered?
The same thing I was just gonna ask, to have all the questions or the concerns that we gave Kevin and I, have they been addressed?
I don't, which specifically,
Well, there were a couple things he was
well,
gonna.
the hearing
Agreed.
was closed.
Yeah, the hearing was closed, so he knew it was kind of a small laundry list that he was gonna address. Did he?
Hearing was closed, I don't know what he was gonna address. Somebody,
I think he was gonna make sure the condo side was really heavily
yeah, we've got that.
covered with landscape.
Yeah,
Okay,
we've
you grab
got
this in
that
here? Yep,
In the motion.
okay. That's the one that I can remember. Anyone else remember?
I've got a statement before we vote on this proposal. I think this is nuts. Town of Southbury voted on zoning in 1937. We've had a plan in force until about 65 when we threw out the zoning and brought in Heritage Village. We put in zoning again, and we continued the zoning, and our control of the town has been done through the zoning commission, planning commission. This proposal from Kevin Bennett jumps above, it's spot zoning, absolutely. We tried to stop the apartment houses on Route 67. We've all voted against it, but he pulled this law from the state that he can do it, and therefore we have an apartment house in a residential section. The neighbors have put up fences, so you can't see the thing. It's completely out of character for the town of Southbury. Well, now we have a new proposal, buys a 3-acre property with a house on it, proposing to tear the house down, and he's gonna have to get rid of the house without putting it into our town dump situation where we take care of bulky waste. He should pay for whatever the cost is to remove that house. And he wants to put up another apartment house with 14 apartments in there. Back in the days when I ran the place, I had Catherine McCarthy, who was the welfare director. If people needed really help in town, we had itinerant farmers and hired hands and people in town. In her budget, every year she put in for a book of tickets, bus tickets. If you needed really help, we sent them to Waterbury, gave them a bus ticket, they went to Waterbury, and they had sewers, water, bus transportation, housing, a whole welfare section to take care of them. By changing the zoning here unilaterally, the town had nothing to do with it. And we get this spot zoning, which is out of the character. Back in the early 1980s, the town recognized we needed affordable housing or accommodations for people with probably lower income. And we bought the Wheeler property, 26 acres, it's now called Grace Meadows. And the town paid $650,000 for the property. We got a committee together and we built 45, 50 affordable housing on Grace Meadows. September 1983, I cut the ribbon, and the town was delighted to be able to offer 50 homes to accommodate people that didn't have a high income, and it's been fine. The town right now has property. We have 40 acres which we can have as a training school. It's got sewer and water already guaranteed. And what the town needs is a plan to accommodate what the state is telling us to do, which is affordable housing. Now we've got Lakeside, we've got Berkshires, we've got Cedarland, all with affordable housing. So how they define affordable housing, taking single acre properties, or acre and a half, 2 acre properties, and putting apartments on it is not the thing to do. And then that's what we're saddled with. So I'm very unhappy with the town at this point, and I would recommend a moratorium on this type of development in town until we have a plan of development by the strategic planning committee or by the selectmen to give us some guidance to take care of this problem. We have the property, we've got sewer and water, we just need some guidance as to what we want to do to perform with the state. So my recommendation is we put this on a moratorium until the town and our board of selectmen come up with a plan of development for this type of apartment. This is the Southbury plan of development. There's not one word in here about putting apartments in Southbury, none. And yet we do this every 10 years, telling the state, telling everyone that we don't have a wide sewer problem, we don't have water for everybody. As I understand now, we're putting another pump station in to pump more water out to Oxford or to Middlebury, what they're doing. I'm not sure it's to replace the pump that's on Woodbury Road, or is it increase the capacity to ship more water out of town? But we have to have a plan in place so we can go to the state and say, this is what we're doing, and we don't want any more apartment houses built in the town of Southbury. But that's not what we want, and we should tell the state that's not, we can handle it ourselves, and here's our plan. So that's my 2 cents on this Kevin Bennett program to put in more apartments. Thank you.
Thank you, Herman. Ron?
I've done a study on affordable housing, that meeting in case Smith worked on it. You're not gonna stop this. You're not gonna stop this because right now the town has 1.42% affordable housing. I didn't supply that number, the town supplied that number. The state of Connecticut says, before you're even gonna approach a moratorium, not get a moratorium, approach a moratorium, you have to have at least 2% of affordable housing in the particular community. And that doesn't even guarantee you a moratorium. Bennett Sullivan got the property on 67 after 2 years because he said, screw this, I'm going to court. And he went to court, he made certain numbers of affordable in the state of Connecticut, and the court said, you gotta do it. That's why we had a vote. There's no way we're gonna stop this development from going forward. If we wanna stop this development from going forward, we gotta get off the dime and decide that we gotta have a plan. I agree with you. The selectmen have gotta decide that they've gotta have a plan to encourage affordable housing. If you ever, I love your thought about 37 years ago where you gave people a bus ticket for Waterbury and said, here, Waterbury, it's your problem. If you tried to do that today, I gotta tell you, you gotta run out of the state.
But for hundreds of years, Waterbury has received all kinds of aid from the state of Connecticut. The whole bus transportation is supported by the state. We don't have any bus service here.
The state of Connecticut made a conscious decision, I think it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. It said, look, we are making those big towns, Waterbury, Danbury, Hartford, Bridgeport, Meriden, we're making them ghettos. We are not allowing people into these communities that they can afford to live in. And by afford, it means 30% of you can't spend more than 30% of your income on your housing. Housing to include rent, utilities, and taxes. If that was more than 30% of your income, then the house is not affordable. Okay, I'll let you have my copy. I've done all the research for 2 years on this thing. I'm waiting to get the presentation before the Board of Selectmen to tell them to move forward. We shouldn't move forward with in 2022 with the plan of growth and development until we have an affordable housing plan. And it has to be a separate affordable housing plan. And it's time we get off the dime and do this, because you know what? Other developers are gonna see what Sullivan's doing. And you know what? They're gonna do it. The housing market in Southbury is exploding. And they're gonna say, look I could put a house and no matter what it's zoned, unless the selectmen get off their stuff and do something about it and say to the state, we're developing a plan, don't do any more. But right now, we don't have a plan. We don't know what the hell we're doing. And that's what the problem is.
It's about time we put the plan together, stop this state intrusion into the town of Southbury. We can do a job, we provided houses, we went out and took our taxpayer money and bought 26 acres from the Charlotte Wheeler to put in Grace Meadows, or Grace, and we could do it again if we have to, but we have to get the selectmen to get this plan going, and the quicker the better.
If you would use your influence to get them off the time, I'd appreciate it.
I'll do the best I can.
Anyone else? Barry or Bob? Unfortunately, the 8-30G, we have no choice.
That's right.
Either,
Well, we do have some choice.
well, we either
What
have
we
to,
can regulate.
Go ahead,
We do
Nancy.
have some choice. The
Right.
buffering, the traffic,
We can't deny this.
yeah,
The state says we're not allowed to deny
Right.
this. They get it.
Yeah.
He's gonna
right.
get this no matter
This
what.
is-
Well, we can
So we
still
have to-
turn, why can't we just turn it down and let them do what they did before?
Right, that's an option, correct. I was just saying, that's our option, is we look at this and we say, we deny this, and we come up with another plan and say, let's come back and give us another presentation, different like we did last time. It's up to the commission.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think the state of Connecticut will allow you to do that.
We did it last time.
No, but you didn't have.
We also wound up in a lawsuit.
What's wrong with this project?
I see nothing wrong with the project. There's a condominium on the left-hand side. A house that's being torn down is a piece of crap. And it's got junk cars in the parking lot. And he's made accommodations for people on both sides. If they were here, they flooded the room, and they were extremely happy. When they left here, they were happy. So if the people in the town and on the road aren't thinking about it, why do we want to step in the middle of it, especially seeing the state doesn't want us to step in the middle of it?
Right.
I agree, you know, I would love to see the town have better plans in place, but at this moment, this is before us.
We have to do something with it.
You know, and I just don't think it's reasonable to deny it because
Right.
basically that, you know, we're trying to make a statement and then wind up in court again.
Right.
He's put together a reasonable plan. I thought we'd all agreed on this at our last meeting.
Yep. The last
That's why we
project was
told-
beautiful. He did a beautiful job on the last one. We saw it. We went and looked.
And I agree with Herman, though. We shouldn't allow him to take from the property and take it up to our transfer center. That should be his expense.
But that's
What-
nothing to do
Are we,
with
g-
That's not before us tonight, though. Yeah, it has nothing to do.
we don't want to encourage developers to come into town, buy 2 acres of property, tear the house down, and put up an apartment house. That's my objection, and we should have something to say about it, and the state should understand that. So I recommend still turning this down.
Okay, we'll come to a vote on that.
Use your influence. Use your influence.
I want to see a plan.
So, Catherine, to the point now where we
Can I ask
go ahead,
can I ask a
Nancy.
technical question?
Sure.
The arch culvert, has there been an engineering plan, Kathy, submitted for the arch culvert?
An engineering plan?
Yeah, this was all engineered by Ron Wolf.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Do I have to read this whole thing into the record?
I think you could, if everybody's gotten this and seen it and read it, you can even just say.
I have 3 other ones to read. I'll pass it to Bob.
As drafted.
If you want me to read it all.
Because we have 3 other ones to
You
read.
can just say as drafted, that's,
Are you sure?
that's fine, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then Debbie can attach it in the minutes.
Okay, we have a resolution in front of us, everybody, from Luna Holdings, as we had from the, when we closed the hearing. And as Bob had mentioned, same thing, I don't see any reason why not to go forward with it. I'll make a motion to approve it based on what we saw from the last project. Even though it took a year or 2 to get approved for them, it came out really nice. I don't see that we're holding it up. But I do agree with you, Harmon, there has to be some type of rule set in place, but at the moment, we aren't running that show with the state. They are, unfortunately. So we have to comply with what's in front of us today. So I'll make a motion to approve this.
I'll second
You can say adopt the resolution
But,
as drafted.
We'll adopt the resolution for Luna Holdings LLC as drafted. Ron Conte seconds it. Any discussion before we take a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Harmon? Abstentions? Passed.
Nancy abstain,
I'm sorry, Nance?
abstain.
Okay, 2 abstentions. Do we have enough to pass? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we're good.
Yep.
2, 3, 4, yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Can I have this? It's the only copy.
Halfway through?
Close.
Can I keep it? Can I
All
keep
right, discussion on tonight's public hearings. Let's just start right with the, one that took us the longest. So we can, the scenic road. I'll start.
Start with the Kristen Belko.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry, right. That was-
Draft motion approval.
Yep, I'll read it right now. Yep, we'll start with this one first. So, right-of-way resolution approval for Kristen Belko, Southland Commercial Properties. Dated today. So whereas at the meeting on September 15, 2020, the Planning Commission received applications from Kristen Belko for approval for a special exception and site plan application under Schedule A, line C-8.3 to allow use change from the office from office to a takeout food service restaurant on property located at 220 Main Street South, Unit Number 7 in the B-2A zone. Whereas a public hearing was held and closed on October 20th, 2020, and all the information presented has been considered. Whereas the Planning Commission makes the following findings with regard to this application. One, the application is proposing a takeout food service restaurant, specifically a take-and-go smoothie and energy tea bar, which is limited to 8 seats with hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. No permit is needed from the Inland Wetlands Commission. Number 3, there is no exterior changes other than new signage. Number 4, the application was reviewed by the town staff and a report was presented and reviewed by the commission. Whereas the Planning Commission finds this application to be in conformance with the zoning regulation and the purpose and intent of the Southbury Plan of Conservation and Development. Now therefore, be it resolved that the special exception and site plan application under Schedule line C-8.3 to allow a use change from office to takeout food service restaurant on property located at 220 Main Street South, Unit Number 7, in a B-2A zone is approved, subject to the following administrative requirements. A, should there be any change in ownership of the restaurant, or if a new restaurant were to propose to occupy Unit Number 7, then a new statement of use shall be provided to the zoning enforcement officer to determine the compliance with the approved special exception, adopted by the Planning Commission on this 20th day of October, 2020. Richard Shadow, Vice Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passed. Okay. Next on the list. All right, she's all set too. All right, so we're jumping to the scenic road. Petition for designation of scenic road. There's no resolution here, right?
It isn't, no.
Okay.
I don't know, I mean, you could.
We don't really need it.
If you want one, you can do it next time, or you don't have to.
Right.
In the report that I did, there's a lot of information in there.
Sure. Yep. It's pretty thorough. Yep.
You could probably just talk about it, everybody could just make a motion, why they want to make it.
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion on it, and then we can have a discussion. Right, that's how you wanna do it?
So you make a motion to approve.
We can,
No, I'm gonna make a motion to deny it.
Okay, you should make a motion to approve.
Yeah.
And then if the motion fails, then you can make a motion to deny. That's just the way they turn it.
Okay. We'll make a.
or we can make a motion to table to November.
I'm sorry, Nance, what was that?
We can make a motion to table till November also. It's another option.
Oh. I'm gonna make it a motion to approve.
Excuse me. I was planning on we're talking about the Jeremy Swamp Road.
Yes.
I was hoping to go visit it, because I haven't visited it, and I want to see what we're talking about. So I would agree with Nancy, to table it until the next meeting, at least I get a chance to take a look at it.
Okay.
We
Anyone
can
else?
schedule, I'd like to schedule a site walk between now and November.
You can't do that because the hearing is closed. You
Right.
should walk it individually, or maybe two of you could walk it, or as long as it's not a quorum.
Yeah. So there's a motion on the table to table it. Did anyone second that? Ron did? Okay. All in favor of tabling it? All in favor?
Aye.
So 3 of you opposed? 3 to 3. Okay.
Nancy said table it.
Nancy said table it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but only,
I ma-
only two
I made
can
the,
vote,
yes,
so Leary
I'm-
can't, so
I
it's
made the
3 and
motion.
3.
It's 3 and 3.
So,
Motion failed.
So the motion fails.
motion
with a
fails.
tie.
Yep. All right, I'll make a motion to deny the application and keep it as is. And go for the park that the, is that right, Kath? Would you-
Mhm.
I would say, it's an application for a scenic road, so in this case, you could just talk about, you just deny it. Right, I wouldn't, you don't have to make the recommendation.
We're denying the scenic
Second.
road status.
Right, yep.
To leave it the way it is. Is that right?
second,
We're saying?
yep, second.
Was that a second, Nance?
Yes.
Oh, okay, Ryan, go ahead.
Does this preclude, if we do what everybody's talking about, does this preclude us from taking it up again?
As a scenic
No.
road,
It's a scenic road, it
if someone
would.
applies for it, if there was a petition.
Right.
Right.
Okay, because I just don't feel right about voting on it unless, because it's such controversy, unless I had an opportunity
I
to see.
think,
Just-
I think it can be agreed that it is historic, but there's the concern that to try to bring it up to passable standards is incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
And my other point that I'd like to bring up, like Kathy just said, everybody says, you know, they love the views, it's scenic, it's historical. How, in any way, shape, or form, if we open this up to vehicular traffic,
Right.
I don't care what you do, it's not gonna improve it.
Well,
Okay, it's only going to degrade the area. Now, you have to weigh that against the opportunities of people being able to see it from a car versus having to park their car and walk. But I think we have to look back in time. We've twice before recommended that this be a linear park. I think it's been closed now for what, 2 years? Maybe more?
Almost.
There hasn't been, other than just a few people that have been very vocal about trying to keep, you know, get it open again. And I encourage you, Ron, please walk it if you haven't, because the embankments on there are crazy steep. And so you're gonna have to put some guardrails. Now, is it gonna have to be lined with guardrails from the beginning to the end? No. But by the time you look at all the embankments, or drop-offs, the approaches to bridges, because that's part of a state standard, that you've gotta have X number of feet before and after each way, because it's technically two lane. It's a huge expense that, do we really need to go down that road when the people can enjoy it by just parking and walking?
One thing to point out too is that, there were a lot of people who live on it, who have frontage on it, who are not in favor of this. They could appeal this decision, and it could result in a lawsuit. So you know, that they can't be, yeah.
I appreciate what you say, but I don't wanna live in fear over every time we.
But it's just that they all.
Right, we're making a decision based on how this committee feels about that. If they do, they do. I mean, that's how it is.
But what
Right.
motion is on the floor right now?
That's what I was just gonna say. So the motion on the floor right now, the original, as he said, was failed because it was a tie.
Right.
I'm making a motion to deny the scenic road. That's my motion on the table.
I would second that.
All in favor of denial of the scenic road?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion's denied.
There we go.
Okay.
The application was denied, motion carried.
Right.
Yeah, the application is denied. Motion carried. Correct. Thank you, Kath. I'm sorry, Larry?
What about emergency vehicles? We don't allow us. Thank you.
When we listened to John Cattell, I don't remember, back in the spring, it might even been before COVID, they said that they would have to replace the Jersey barriers with a gate, that they would fabricate something that would be on a hinge so that emergency vehicles could still get down it if need be.
Now, do we have to do anything to make that happen? Because I don't wanna see the house
I
burn.
wouldn't, this,
Yep.
technically, you're done with this now, you
Yeah.
shouldn't discuss it anymore right now.
Plus, that wasn't,
For the Board of Selectmen.
Really, all before us was scenic road, yea or nay.
Exactly, that was it, that was always on topic. All that other stuff was discussed in, so, yep. Let's see, so let's see, that one public hearing that was, sure. The Kristen Balico, and what was the third public hearing?
The subdivision regulations, the guardrails.
The guardrails, right. Didn't we approve that? Okay, then.
Ron, hang on just real quick, we're gonna do this quick.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve as written,
Perfect.
the guardrail, what did we call it?
The,
Proposed amendments for
Yeah.
guardrail regulations.
I'll second that motion. All in favor of approving the guardrail sub? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Now you can get your drink of water.
Abstentions? Okay, motion passed. Thank you, everyone, on that. Thank you, Bob. New business. 824 referral, offer of property donations. Let's start with a Kenneth Anderson lot located on Potomac Trail. Potomac Trail? Potomac Trail?
These are the ones that, you talked about the last meeting and you wanted to go out and look at it to see if there was any gas tanks or things on it, and
That was a,
this is why you can't, it's just deep woods, you can't figure out what's what in there.
that was a little piece of land that you said probably wasn't
Yeah.
even worthy of.
But
Yeah.
nothing jumped out at you.
It's all just woods, dropping really steep and.
Thank you very much.
And so what would you like us to do on this? What do we have to do now?
Well, it's
Send it
an
back to the,
824, you just have to
we have to say we
approve or
want it?
deny it. Basically,
So if we deny it, means we don't want it, send it back to
that
them?
you recommend that the town doesn't approve it.
Aye. Anyone want to make a motion? Either way?
We're just talking about Potomac Trail, right?
Yes. That's A and B, correct? Kathy, both these together?
I would do it,
Do A first?
yeah,
Okay, we'll do A first, 19A-43-52 lot.
Make a motion to deny.
All in favor to
Second. Aye.
for denial, you need a reason,
Okay,
so you should maybe just
yeah. Bob, what do you think?
We don't have to. We don't have to.
I'll go with
Because it's such a small, piece
Parcel.
of property, that doesn't continue on to, adjoining town lands, it's not a substantial benefit to the town. Be better used to make someone's, building lot up there more conforming in size.
Agreed. So the motion was ayes and opposed? Abstentions? I did. The motion's denied. Let's see, Kenneth Anderson, lot located on Fournier Trail, map 19A 5412-13. We get a motion. Nobody? Motion to approve or deny, anybody? Kathy, this is the same,
Make a motion to deny, same reasons as.
same lot, right? That was close to the other one, right? They were very close.
Second.
yeah, it makes more sense if the neighbor.
The neighbor takes it, that was the one.
So motion to deny with the same reasons as the previous.
Okay, Kathy, thank you.
Second. Move the question. Move the question.
What's that, Nance?
I move the question for a vote.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Nance.
Move the question for a vote.
Oh, we just made the motion, we're gonna vote now to deny the second piece of property and leave it for the same reason Bob
Exactly.
stated for the first.
Yep.
Okay, so the motion's on the table, so all in favor of denying?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motions are denied. Thank you. New business, Lumlot Woods, Lot 9 lot subdivision located on Lumlot Road. You waited a long time for this, sorry.
One that, we sat in on Friday, so we tried to put together a report yesterday. There's still a few things that Ron's waiting for, and the open space, how that's gonna be done is still up in the air too,
Okay.
but he figured he'd come and make our meeting longer.
Nah, he's gonna give us the skinny.
F2, right.
Thank you.
All the detail sheets aren't attached to these, these are just like the pertinent plans. Property, is about 30.5 acres, located on the east side of One Lot Road. There's an existing house on the property, I think number is number 14. Turn the map there. If you turn to the second page, you'll see an existing conditions map that shows the property as it currently is today, with the house located on the southeast corner. The green areas that you see on the map are shaded, there are wetlands on the property. The wetlands were flagged by professional soil scientist Eric Davidson. And there's also a water course that runs from the south to the north, pretty much through the middle of the property, kind of like the property in half. The property, with the exception of the area around the existing house, is primarily wooded, and it slopes downward from the south towards the north. The applicant is proposing a 9-lot subdivision. There would be lots along the street, 7 lots along the street, including the existing house, and 2 interior lots, lots 6 and 7, will be served by a common driveway. Currently, in front of the Inland Wetland Commission, seeking approval from them. To make some revisions to the plans, as a result of going to the meetings. We have arch culvert proposed common driveway, 15 feet wide, and we're proposing an arch culvert with a natural column, span that. This is just a picture of a similar structure, so the stream will remain intact, putting a new side, essentially a bridge put over that stream to maintain its current state. So that's the common driveway serving on 6 and 7. This yellow area you see here is a conservation easement that we're proposing. That's also something we're working on with the Wetland Commission. It's 5.59 acres. And we're proposing an open space area located at the northeast corner of the property. That's 6.53 acres. For a total of 12.12 acres of protected land on the development, which is about 31.4%. We have an underground fire suppression tank proposed on One Lot Road, on the side of One Lot Road. That's required for subdivision regulations. That's it. I can answer any questions you might have at this time.
When you turn here from, is that Bucks Hill or I'm sorry, or is that,
Yeah, Bucks Hill, yes.
right, so how far from the corner is this from,
From the house, the first house on the right will be the existing house that's on the property, number 14.
okay.
And then that property just goes to the north, quite a bit. I didn't add up the full amount, but it's a long distance. I could get that.
No, I'm just curious.
So it's essentially
What's the status of inland wetlands?
What's the status of inland wetlands, Kath?
It's not approved yet at wetlands, probably at their next meeting.
It's a pretty long driveway for those two houses in the back, huh?
Yeah, it's about 1,200 feet from the street all the way to the, house at lot 6. We have, turnout areas proposed, which we're kind of determining whether they're necessary or not, and we do have them proposed, per the driveway regulations. We don't really.
Over 750 feet, that's have a turnout.
Nance, can you talk right into their microphone or your phone?
Yes, over 750 feet, there has to be a turnout for emergency services.
Yeah, we have turnouts proposed every 300 feet, but when you have a common driveway, the driveway is already 15 feet wide, which essentially allows two vehicles to pass, so we're not 100% certain based on the driveway rights that that's required, but we're gonna propose them. If we can eliminate them in the process or reduce the number of them, we'd be more than happy to, because it would reduce the amount of, activity in the regulated area for the wetlands. We could eliminate some of those turnouts.
Yeah, we're working on clarifying that, there seems to be a lot of
That's an easy
confusion,
revision.
yeah.
We haven't proposed, if we have to, we can eliminate them, or some of them.
In lot 6, you've got some stone walls, I believe, identified,
Yes, there is, yep.
especially the zigzag one. They tend to be rather historic.
Yep.
What's the condition on those?
I would say they're kind of in between the rubble and the stone wall, like stone wall remains and stone wall, but they are there.
Okay, and the plan is not to touch them at all?
No, they're in the regulated area.
They're in the wetlands.
Go in the wetland area, so there's nothing proposed. The house site is nowhere near that area. Anything within that area would need permit from the wetlands commission.
1,200 feet, imagine that, huh?
The last time we had a long common driveway, we had to have agreement amongst the people that were gonna be serviced by the driveway as to who was paying for it.
Yeah, that was, you can make that a condition of, in the approval, that the common driveway maintenance agreement is
I just
prepared
wanna know
and
if that
filed.
was mentioned.
Yep.
So is there other fire hydrants? Is there a water supply there to the end of that driveway? What's the story for the house is way up in the back if something happens?
No, we didn't,
Portable pond type of thing, that's it?
there's no pond, there is a water course, but, to the best of our knowledge, the only requirement for the subdivision is a 10,000-gallon water tank.
Oh, that's gonna be put on site?
Yes, but that's down at Lumlock Road here.
Yeah, way down.
So, I'm sure the fire marshal will be reviewing the plan, but to the best of my knowledge, that's all that's required.
Is that how, I'm sorry, go ahead. What is it, how much is the grade going up the driveway?
Well, the maximum grade allowable is 12%, so we're close to that in some of the areas, but it varies from, some areas are flat. This area up here is about 11.8%.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a paved driveway.
Paved driveway? Wow.
We're proposing it paved just because it will eliminate any conflicts with the maintenance, since it's a common driveway.
You said 15 feet wide?
15 feet, yes, plus the turnout areas.
Two cars coming down, that's awful tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have turnout areas every 300 feet, so, 300 feet is not very far.
Have you thought about squeaking it to 20?
You could actually, two cars could pass on 15 feet, because you have like a shoulder on each side too.
Try to get a ladder truck up there though.
He's
That'd be
more
tough.
than meeting the regulations,
we
so,
need-
yeah. As long as it meets the
So
regulations.
a ladder truck, obviously, if somebody was coming the other direction, the car would pull over and then the ladder truck, 8.5 feet wide is the maximum width for a vehicle. So, anything over that needs a permit, over width permit. And then we also have, the driveway regs require a 50 by 50 foot square. The driveway is over 500 feet long by the house, so we have those proposed also.
Debbie started circulating them, so.
We're prepared to respond to that.
The slope that's limited has to be located.
Those were going to just assessing this site, right?
Yeah, the slope is,
This is the first
12%
meeting.
slope is not very much for driveway.
This is gonna take some time to digest.
Well,
Yeah, we're gonna leave this open for a little bit.
very steep slope. We have more roads in town, a lot of roads.
65 days.
Hmm?
It's 65 days plus 65 days.
Right,
She can.
Yeah,
right, you have plenty of time.
We looked at other options, you know, along the road and whatnot, and it's the least intrusive.
These circles are the terminals, right?
The circles are the wells. Each house has a, let me see what you're pointing to.
This,
No, those are contours. If you turn the page, you'll see before you scale down, there will be some contours. And then these are both sides, so these are twice as big. Turn the page up here.
Can I just ask what this one symbol is? I'm looking at the legend and I can't figure it out. Off of each of the houses, there's, if you wanna come over here, I'll just show you, it's just easier. Off of each house, you have this bar that's right here.
I believe this property's been in the Stiles family for hundreds of years. Ben Stile owns the property. He sold it to Star Shack, I see.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
the Stiles home on Main Street, his son bought part of the estate when one of the aunts died. But it's been part of the Stiles family for years.
Is this not a re-subdivision?
No, it is not. Kathy, just to confirm, you received the, email.
Yeah, we
from the
did
surveyor?
get a letter from the surveyor explaining the title trail, so it's never been subdivided before.
Okay.
What size are some of these houses that you're proposing here?
This is just like a standard, they're 4-bedroom houses, we just show like a typical colonial style, footprint for a colonial house.
Mhm.
And then as each block gets developed, the builder will pick their own, but these are all, the septic systems are all 4-bedroom houses, which is pretty.
So 2,000 gallon tanks or 1,500, what are
The septic tanks would be at 1250.
1250s?
Or larger if there's more bedrooms, but the standard size is 1250.
Yep.
How many?
4 bedrooms, 1,250 on the septic tank.
Okay. I don't know what we're doing, but can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Okay. I recommend that we comply with our regulations for the turnouts for the long driveways. Because once the fire truck gets stuck, or an ambulance gets stuck halfway up the driveway, the liability is tremendous. So I recommend, first of all, the turnout. Secondly, I think, yes, to be reviewed by the fire marshal and also by emergency services.
Is that part of the standard review process, Kathy?
Even what emergency services did? Or just fire marshal? The plan.
Emergency services and the fire marshal.
Okay, so Ron still has,
I-
still got, wetlands has to approve it,
Yeah.
and we still have to figure out the conservation, so this is still a work in progress, so.
All right, so we can just table this then till the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Lot 9, I see an existing stone foundation, what's that all about?
It's just like some blocks. Run this, I don't build a hunting cabin or something. It's not much of a foundation, but you can see there's like some concrete blocks and stuff there.
No
No structural or anything.
no historical value?
Nah, they're newer
Have they identified any significant trees on the property to be preserved?
Well, the whole property is essentially wooded.
Yes.
And there's a lot of trees down that came down, a lot of big trees that came down with the storm 2 years ago. It's hard to even walk through there. Literally, there's so many trees down.
I still have the same question. Are there any significant trees to be preserved,
So like a
identified?
massive trees, anything like that, Ron?
Well, we showed clearing limits for each house. So the trees within those limits would have to be cut too.
Is it mostly just oaks in there, or?
Mostly all oak trees,
Okay.
some ash trees.
Anything that's ginormous that should be saved?
Well, we could certainly identify those. But, you know, we've identified basically the smallest clearing area for each house site that we could. And if a person chooses to
Well,
cut the house site, then.
our regulations require it.
Would it be worthwhile for the commission to try to walk it, or no? What do you think?
We walked it with the Wetlands Commission. I don't know, I almost think it would be not feasible to locate every single tree on, the trees, because the whole property is wooded, so.
There's got to be some compromise so it's not all clear cut.
No, we're not proposing to clear cut at all. We have the clearing limits identified on the plan, as to what's required to be cleared for each house and the driveways. That's typically what we do, but we certainly discuss that.
Well, our regulations require any significant trees or stone walls be preserved.
Where's the closest fire hydrant?
Not,
We could table this so we can move on.
What's up?
Yes.
What's up, pussycat?
Okay, so we can just put this on the agenda for the next meeting if anyone has any major questions, because we had a lot of stuff we're waiting for. We just kind of go from there.
motion to table. Motion to table.
I'll second it. All in favor of tabling the application till next month till we get other stuff done, okay, Ron?
Sure, thank you.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so we'll put it on for the, November meeting, which is, I just had the date a minute ago. What is the date for the November meeting? Okay, you gotta say it to the record, so. Tuesday, November 10th. Okay, Ron? 7 PM, thank you. All right, let's see, other business, review of the draft request for proposal, RFP for the 2022 Plan of Conservation Development. We have a request for a proposal right here.
That's G1.
Yep, everybody has it?
Yep.
Do I
What
have to
is the
read this?
date of that?
What's that?
There's no date on, what is the date of that? There's no date on it.
Yeah, there's no date on. Do I have to read this into the record?
No, just, it's just, if it looks okay, then I can get it over to, the finance office and have them get it out there. The, return date is December 18th. Sometimes it's better if you don't give them too much time, so 6 weeks is usually
Okay.
enough time, so if he's good with that date, maybe we can just get it going.
Okay. It looks good.
Our procedure in the past has been for the commission or a subcommittee of the commission to interview, we usually narrow it down to 3, interview those applicants for the RFP. Still gonna do that?
Yes.
Okay.
We did in 2012.
First, we gotta get it out there and get him back,
Yep.
and then once they're back.
Right.
We'll form that, yeah, we'll put that on the agenda to form that committee in November. How's that? Okay, so do we have to make a motion on this?
Maybe just make a motion to put it out for proposal.
Okay, we'll make a motion to put the request for proposal out for the Conservation Plan Development, RFP for 2022. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, thank you. Let's see, under other business, reminder, October 28th, Land Use Board and Commission Workshop, 7 PM. Everybody good with that? Whoever's going?
Yep.
Okay, and the meeting schedule for 2021. What's that about, Kath? That's meeting right there? That's the same one? Oh, it was line 3, sorry.
We
Okay.
used to skip August meetings. We're gonna schedule August meetings.
It was on that list.
It's on the list.
Yeah, I know.
Probably good to actually have, you can schedule it, and then if you don't have any business,
We
you
always
can
have
get
August
rid of
off.
it. It's just tough because it really slows down the process.
Okay.
Because you only have one meeting a month. If you had 2 meetings a month, I think it would be different, but I don't know, it's up to you guys, but I don't.
We've always had it off. I'm fine with having it off if everybody's good with that still. Taking it, keeping it off.
Yep.
Yeah, we should take it off the schedule then, so, yeah.
This was just a tough year.
Yep, oh yeah, no doubt. Let's see, moving on, staff and member reports. Anybody, anything? Bob Harrison.
Group pack did meet. Nothing really was, it was more just like a refresher of, getting the committee to sit down together, identify who's gonna be on RUPAC now, cause there was a lot of new faces. There's gonna be some review of, previously identified materials from the past. That hasn't happened yet. Jeff said that he was gonna acquire that documentation and give it to us for review. But that's pretty much all that happened.
Okay.
Road study met, I don't remember the date. John Cattell gave an update on the status of the, mill projects, the, hold on, what's the tar and gravel there?
Sand pit?
No, not the sand pit, just, what they put on the roads.
Oh,
The chip and seal, chip seal.
yeah.
Thank you. The chip seal status. They didn't get quite as much done this year. You've got a lot that happened. You had COVID that happened. You had tropical storms that happened. So the road work projects just didn't, meet previous years. But other than that, nothing further to report.
All right, excellent. Anyone else?
Yes, we are supposed to have a liaison to COG, Council of Government. And
Okay.
they were supposed to report to us at every meeting, and seems to have fallen through the cracks. You know the status?
I don't know, do we have a status on that, Kath?
I don't know anything about it. There was somebody that, I forgot, somebody was going. Were you going to it, Ron? No, somebody was going to it.
No.
It was,
Right, it definitely wasn't us.
Can we follow up on that? Because we need representation if we're going to get any money, have any input. And we get a lot of free professional advice from them, too.
Okay. Okay, we'll have, Kathy will check into that. Thank you, Kath. Let's see, minutes, regular meeting minutes. We have September 15th and October the 7th. Let's see, on September the 15th, everybody was here except for Greg. So Greg cannot vote on the minutes. Anyone have anything to change, amend, or make a motion to approve?
I made a,
Motion to approve.
I had a change when, I was one that did not affirm the gas tank project. It had Ron Conti as not approving it, but I'm the one that did not approve it, not Ron. One of the minutes it has, I mentioned it earlier, they may have been corrected since then.
You got that, Deb?
Yeah,
His
she's
email?
got the email, so she
Okay.
knows what.
She has it.
We got it, excellent. Anybody else amending or adding anything in? Okay, Nancy has a motion on the table to approve the minutes for September 15th. Do we have a second? Ron Conti, second. All in favor of approving? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Let's go to October the 7th. I think everybody was here. No one was absent. Excellent. Anyone changes, amendments, anything to the minutes?
Motion to approve is written.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, passed. Moving on to bills. Kath, do we have anything? Okay, passing on that. Any other business that may properly come before the commission?
I don't think we ever got into our minutes that the lawsuit from the town to the planning commission was dropped. We should get that in our minutes.
The lawsuit,
The article that was in the paper?
the town appealed
Yeah.
the lawsuit. So it was resolved.
All right. Did you read the article? It was in the paper? Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
The lawsuit was resolved.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Woo-hoo.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you, everybody.